y'all, welcome to Criminally Creative, a channel about my various creative endeavors. Today is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, and this is episode 64. I am Susan. You can find me on Ravelry as Legal Eagle and on Instagram as Criminally Creative 1. You may notice that's different. It used to be Criminally Creative Podcast, but I have changed it to match the actual channel name on YouTube, which is Criminally Creative, the number 1. I named my YouTube, my Instagram Criminally Creative Podcast when I first started this channel back in 2018, I think it was, and I was mostly a knitter, and knitting channels tend to call themselves podcasts, and so that's why I did it. But now, since I am more of a cross stitcher than a knitter, and I have a variety of crafts, I just got rid of the word podcast. Fortunately, I can't change it to just Criminally Creative, which is what I would prefer, because there's already somebody that has that name, even though they appear to never post. So, anyway, and if you do follow me on Instagram, this month I have been trying to post something every single day. That is not going to last beyond this month, but I am trying to get in the habit of posting more frequently. So every day so far this month, I have posted what I've stitched on or crafted on that day, or something, mostly what I've stitched on that day, because I've been able to stitch a lot more since work has gotten a little calmer. But anyway, if you are new here, I appreciate you checking me out. If you're returning, I appreciate you coming back. I hope that you like what you see, regardless, that you will like, subscribe, do all the fun things. Leave a comment, send me an email, any feedback is appreciated if it is presented politely. And I always enjoy hearing from those of you that do watch what I do. So that's about it for intro. We'll move on to hearsay, which does not have much. Work has been quiet, which is nice. I've been kind of getting my office cleaned off, catching up on some things that got put on the back burner for a bit. We are back to being allowed to work from home 2 days a week, so that's nice not to have to get in the car and drive to Raleigh for 2 days a week. And that's really about it. Nothing really exciting has happened in the past 2 weeks. My parents came on Saturday of the July 4th weekend and had lunch, and we hung out for a couple hours, drove around Lee County and visited some bridges that my father and I really like history, and we got to talking at lunch about some local bridges that were kind of historic. So we went and drove around after lunch to show those to him. And that's really about it. Nothing else exciting going on. So anyway, well, let's move into the crafting. I do actually have 2 verdicts this time. I have a knit verdict and I have a cross stitch verdict. Sorry, first I'm getting the cord caught up. First is my knit verdict, and that is the bounce blanket that I was working on. I finished that. This is a baby blanket for a friend of mine that I want to gift next month. I have woven in all the ends, but I have not washed it yet. So as soon as I wash it, I will snip all the ends off the back. But anyway, so that is made out of Universal Yarn Cotton Supreme in the colorways Ocean, Apricot, and Gray. The gray is the ends in between each section. So that is for a friend of mine whose first grandson was born, that I'm going to give to her, and she can, I do not know her daughter, so she can either give it to her daughter for her grandson, or she can keep it at her house for when her grandson visits. Up to her. That pattern is a pattern by Tin Can Knits, and I knit that on US 7 4.5 millimeter needles. I've said that every time I've shown it, but and then I do have one cross stitch finish. Excuse me. I actually finally finished Autumn Seaside. This is a pattern by Forbidden Fiber Co. And it is stitched on 40 count fabric that was dyed by Forbidden Fiber Co. in the colorway Lullaby with Forbidden Fiber Co. dyed floss. And as you can see, it's a seagull on pumpkins and a beach ball. And I have been working on this since the first of the year as my work on it till it's finished project, but I've had a couple months where I didn't have time to get to it and not enough time to work on it, so I finally got that finished. I started this on February 4th, 2023, and I finished it a couple days ago. I didn't write down the date I finished it, but I did 1,653 stitches in July to finish this up. So when I started the month, I had outlined this pumpkin, but I had to finish it and then do kind of the beachy area underneath. So this is the called for fabric, which hopefully you're seeing is like a light blue. If you look at the pattern picture for this, it does not appear blue in the picture, so I was pleasantly surprised when I got the fabric to find out that it was blue, because that's definitely more my wheelhouse. But this was a fun stitch. I really enjoyed it. The length of time it took me is no indication of my enjoyment. But I finally got one whip finished. So that is Autumn Seaside by Forbidden Fiber Co. And that's it for the verdicts. So we'll move on to Court in Session. First up, knitting. I haven't shown you my socks. Same socks I'm still working on that haven't shown you the last couple videos. I am knitting these, as always, 2 at a time, toe up on US 0, which is, no. Yes, US 0, which is 2mm needles. I'm knitting this out of a Gale's Art sock blank. That's what I have left of the blank. This is a double knit sock blank, so there are basically 2 strands of yarn coming off this, turning into 1 sock each. I think the last time I actually showed these to you, I had just turned the heels, and I've done that much of the leg on them. These only get like a little bit of work here and there. They ride around my pocketbook. I put maybe 2 or 3 rows on them tonight, waiting for dinner to come, because we ate out, and I sit it and I knit a couple rows after we ordered before our food got there. But I do want to get those knocked out, hopefully by the end of the month, if not soon thereafter. And then the other knitting project that I'm still working on is my Litmus Cowl, which is patterned by Jude Harper. I'm making this for one of my nieces for Christmas. I'm going to make one for each of them. This particular niece is transferring to NC State this fall, so these are NC State colors. The yarn is Robin's Promise in her red, black, and gray mini skein set. This little stitch marker right here is where I was the last time you saw it, so I've done this much more. This one up here is just the one that I keep closer to the needles to tell me which is the first side, since I'm knitting in the round, so that I knit evenly. But so I would also like to finish this by the end of the month, which means I need to knit on it a little more frequently over the next couple weeks, but it is definitely possible. So, and that again is the Litmus Cowl by Jude Harper. I'm knitting that on US 4s, 3 point, I can't tell if that's a 2 or 3, 3.5mm needles. Okay, on to the cross stitching. First up is in this stitch and button bag. This, and if you're new here, for all my cross stitch projects, as I talk, I will post a picture of what the final project will look like, and also a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it, unless it's a new start. So this is a stitch a day, which is a pattern by Morning Glory Needleworks. And it is I didn't take the top part of the Q-snap off this. I had to move it up the fabric so you can't see it all now. This is a pattern where you do, it's specialty stitches, and so you do 1 outside block each day and the interior of the block the next day. I do this as my Sunday stitch, so every Sunday I do either 3 or 4 blocks completely. I'll try to get this close enough that you can kind of see. And so I am caught up through last Sunday. Since You Last, I started this on January 7th, 2024 of this year. It is on 28 count Lugana by Mystic Fabrics in the Time Worn colorway. And since you last saw it, I stitched 589 more stitches. Okay, next up is in this brass, I think this is, no, is this brass button or, no, Creative Carol Designs patriotic bag with eagles on the inside. This is One Nation by Bygone Stitches. This is a project that I started January 22nd of 2021. It is the project that I have divided the remainder of into 12 parts so that it will be finished by the end of this year. And so I have already done my part for July. I stitched on this on July 4th because I thought that was appropriate. And the part that I will show you what it looks like. This is obviously a flag with all of the names of the states, and they are listed in the order that they joined the Union. The part that I did this time was the end of these bottom three rows. So when I go back to it next month, I will start back over here again, and there are 3 more rows underneath that last bit of it that I've done. So over the next 5 months, I will get those 3 rows completed, and that will be done by December. I feel like it probably will be done before December because as I get closer to finishing, I probably will just go ahead and finish it. This month I stitched 1,183 stitches on that. I'm doing that on 28 count Picture This Plus Ale, which is the called for fabric, and I'm using the called for overdyed floss. In hindsight, I would not have used overdyed white, but at the time that I started that, I really had not used overdyeds much, so I just really didn't think about it. I would have used the overdyed blue and the red. I do like that, but the white, there's not really enough variegation, but I've got all the floss, so I'm just using it. Next up, this is in a bag made by Lynn X Stitch Creates. Has kind of a lacy on here. This is Kingdom of Books, which I bought as a kit. It's a Russian kit. The design name on my kit translates as Make It With Your Own Hands. Excuse me. I started this on August 31st, 2016. This is a full coverage. I am doing this full coverage on the kit fabric with the kit floss, 14 count Aida. And I am this year doing 2,000 stitches a month on this, which will not get it completed, but we'll get it at least close to, I think, halfway done. So this is where it is now. What I worked on this time is up here. This part, basically this section right here. And I did exactly 2,000 stitches. So this is where it is completely. That gate is the middle of the pattern. And I am currently at 36.7% on this. You may see there's quite a few people, or not quite, there are other floss tubers who are stitching this. Handwork Maniac is the one that comes to mind. She is doing this on a fabric that is more the color of this wood background, so she is not stitching all that. If I were to start this today, I would probably do the same, and I would do it on something that is a smaller than 14 count fabric. But at the time that I started it, I just, it was a kit. I just did what it was, because the time I started this, I had not even, I don't know if I'd even ever stitched on anything but 14 count Aida. So, actually, I think that I started my treasure hunt bookshelf, which is on 25 count, but not easy grid, just 25 count. I think I started that before I started this, and that was the first time I'd ever used anything but Aida. And I think I told you I did 2,000 stitches on it this month. Whip Go for this month. This bag is by Sherry So Sweet. I like her bags a lot. And this is Halloween at Hawk Hollow, which was my first Whip Go call for July. I started this September 2nd of 2023. And my Whip Go goals are always to stitch 10 hours on the project. However many stitches that gets me, because on some projects that's a lot more than on others, depending on, you know, how much confetti there is or how many times you have to change colors, really. I'm doing this on 40 count fiber on a whim in the Heather colorway. This is what it looks like. The last time you saw this, I was still working on block 1. I have now finished block 1, and I have started block 2. I have done a total of 2,253 stitches this month in the 10 hours that I worked on it. I don't know my actual percentage overall. I do have this in markup, but because each of these blocks is like a separate chart, and some of the color symbols change for each. The same symbols are used for different colors in different blocks. So I have to basically kind of reset up my symbols every block. I am doing it block by block, and so I have not gone through the entire pattern to set my grids to get an accurate stitch count on this. So I've done 1/12 of it in my mind, a little over that, since I've started the second block. So I am enjoying work. As always, I enjoy work on. I love Hawk Hollows. They are bigger than you think, but they're a lot of fun to work on. So I am doing that with the called for DMC conversion. My second Whip Go project for the month, I'm still working on. It is in, got a thread hanging out, this bag by, I don't know who, it's somebody I can never remember who it is. I ordered a couple bags from them. They're well-made bags. They're just a little smaller than I prefer, so I have not ordered more from them, and that was so long ago now I can never remember who it is. This is Tree of Magic by Barbara Anna. This was previously available only as a kit from Nitka Moscow. I believe that I heard somebody say recently that you can now get this from Barbara Anna's website, but I am not 100% sure about that. I am doing it on the kit fabric with the kit floss. And so far this month, I have done 2 of my 10 hours on it. And I have been working over here in this section and down into here as I have extra thread left. I have done 2 hours, which is just 494 stitches so far. I'm currently at 44.7% on it. So there is one more full row underneath that row that is almost done that I'm working on. So, depending on how far I get in the additional 8 hours I've got to work, this might be one that I pull out again later this year to try to get finished. I started this on May 1st, 2021. It was one of my mania starts that year. And I enjoy working on it. I'm trying to figure out where to put that. If I can get it back together later. Next up, so at the beginning of the year, I had joined, there was a Halloween stitching group on Facebook, which is no longer in existence. Anna, the creator, closed it early this year. But before she made that decision, she had a challenge for the year where you picked up 4 projects for the year and you stitched on 1 each quarter with the goal to get at least 400 stitches each month of the quarter on it. And so I have a lot of Halloween projects because I like Halloween. I picked 4 projects, and my goal was to get at least 400 stitches a month. My personal goal was to get 1,000 stitches a month if possible. So my, since we're in July, we're in the 3rd quarter. My next project is in this Creative Carol Designs Halloween bag, which has owls on the inside. This is Halloween Quaker by Leela Studio. It is also on 40 count Fiber on a Whim Heather. This piece has, I got before the one I just showed you, has a lot more black to it, but that's great for this project. I started this June 30th of 2021, and I have done 1,063 stitches on this month. I previously had done, sorry, I'm trying to hold this and have it not fall all this part up here, so I came down this way, and this is the bottom of the pattern. So I want to fill this in there before I go across anymore. So this is currently at 39.4%. So there's a little more this way over here, I think to about where my finger is right there, approximately, I'm guessing. But this I love, and I'm doing this with the called for Fancy Floss. It's a combo of Fancy Floss and DMC. I'm doing it pretty much with the called for. There are a couple, I do have one extra kind of purplish floss that I'm going to throw in periodically. And I have thrown a couple of those little smaller Quakers, I think, like this one right here, I think was supposed to be done in one of the blacks, and I did it in a purple, just to add a little more color to it. I think I told you I did 1,063 stitches this month, hopefully. If not, I'll tell you again. So that will come back out again next month. And then I have 2 new starts. I had not planned to start this. I liked it, and I knew that there was a stitch along / start along starting, but I was not going to start it. I had something else totally I had planned to start this month, and on July 5th, the stitch along started July 4th, and on July 5th, I was seeing this. Let me back up. Laura from Stitching by the Shore is doing the stitch along. There might be somebody else hosting it with her, but I know Laura's the one that I watched that I'm aware of. And she has a Facebook group, and I'm in that group, and I was seeing on the 5th, all the pictures of everybody that had started it on the 4th, and I could not resist. So I had fabric, I had the floss, so I started it. This is Land That I Love, which is designed by Twisted Willow Design. I'm gonna have to sneeze. Okay, sorry. Like I was saying, this is Land That I Love by Twisted Willow Design. It was in the summer issue, this year's summer issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. It is a full coverage piece, but it is a smaller full coverage piece. I'm doing this on 25 count easy grid, 1/1 with the called for DMC. I had to sew this fabric on the sides to make it wide enough to fit in my preferred Q-snap frame. So I started this on July 5th, and I have done 1,276 stitches, which is a total of 8.5%. So I have gotten that's the full width of the piece. I have gotten the whole top row done of the 10 by 10. It's actually like an 8 by 10 grid up there on that row. And then, as the colors have come down. So, so that, goes into the whip pile, and who knows when it will actually be finished, but I did get a good start on it. Sals are definitely start-alongs for me. And then, last but not least, sorry, I had to make a note. I had showed you a couple of weeks ago that I had finished the Mill Hill kit I was working on, so I finally started a new Mill Hill last week. I try to do Mill Hill Monday and get at least 100 stitches in on whatever Mill Hill kit I have going. This past Monday, I kind of totally forgot, but I did start one last year, and I have a thread hanging off this. This is just in a little blue Q bag. This is Witch's Cauldron, which is a Mill Hill kit, and I think that's right side up. That's all I've done. I've done 106 stitches. So that's all I've done on that. That's the perforated paper. Sorry, I guess I thought I was going to go right back to that and left my needle and thread in there. So, I started that on July 8th, 2024. So, that is all of the stitching on the docket. I need to finish another 8 hours on Tree of Magic. Anzac is the other project that I have a monthly goal on that I have not touched yet. That is my leap day, leap year project. So I usually wait till later in the month to work on that. My goal for that is 600 stitches a month. But I think once I get done with my goal on Tree of Magic, I may go ahead and knock that out so that the rest of the month I can just swee-wee and stitch what I want when I want. I need to pick another project to replace Autumn Seaside as kind of my work on it some until it's finished project. I'm not sure yet what that's going to be. And then I want to finish the Litmus Cow. The Litmus Cow is the one that has kind of it's not a real deadline. It's my own set deadline of end of the month because I've got 2 more to do. So I figure if I finish this one by July, then August, September, I get another one done. And October, November, I get the 3rd one done. And that gets me done in time for December. Best laid plans, we'll see. Stashing for retirement. First up is not really stashing for retirement. It's kind of stitchy kindness, I guess. I wanted to show you something my mother gave me. And I'm not going to try to stand up and show you the whole thing. I think you can get the gist of it here. But this is a quilt. And I've got it folded in about 4ths. So it's kind of, like a lap quilt. And it's basically a giant panel, as you can see. And the quilting of it is just stitching, not really stitching the ditch, but it's stitched around each flower and stitched around each block. What's really, and you can see kind of like back here, what's really special about this quilt, my mother gave it to me, is that other than the binding, which my mother did, my grandmother did this. My grandmother was a quilter. She was a hand quilter, as in she did everything by hand. The quilting by hand, she pieced all the pieces by hand. She did her binding by hand. She knew how to use a sewing machine, but her quilting was always done by hand. She died in 2002, I believe, at the age of 96. Yeah, 2002. And this is one of the last quilts that she worked on. Obviously, at the age of 95, 96, she was not doing a lot of piecing, but I believe my mother bought her this panel. And so all of this quilting around this, and it's easier to see, I think, on the background fabric, all of this quilting is hand-stitched by my grandmother. The only thing done by machine at all on this is the one side of the binding. My mother did, the machine front of the binding and then hand-stitched the back. So, and I don't know if you can, I don't think I can get close enough to see. You can see it. There you can kind of see. She stitched it in kind of a hot pink thread around each of those that you can see. So, my mother brought this to me when they came the week of July 4th because I had she had had it for obviously a while. My grandmother passed away 20 years ago, but she had just gotten around in the last few months to actually getting it out and putting a binding on it. So what I need to do is I need to get one of those, like an iron-on label, quilt label, and actually put that information on this quilt so that my kids or whoever is cleaning up my shit after I die will actually know how special this quilt is. And, if they don't want it, hopefully maybe they'll give it to, one of my nieces or my nephew or somebody else in the family that will want it. So anyway, that's kind of a stitchy kindness that my mother gave me that I thought some of you who maybe are quilters or maybe not, or just like me and like the sentimentality of our handcrafts might appreciate. So let's get on to actually stash her for retirement. Before I show you the physical stuff I did buy 2 new digital patterns that I will put pictures of up. I got these online from Casa de Sanina. I will put it across I'll put a link in the things below because I'm not sure I have that name right and I didn't write that part down. They are both designed by a designer called Olaf in Stitches. The website is not in English, but it's simple enough to navigate. And I saw both of these on a new floss tuber that I watched, Speedy X Stitcher, who is Danish. And apparently used to have, I'd never seen her before, but she did a whip parade, and I was watching her whip parade. And I guess she used to do floss tubes in English and German. Had not done them in a while in English and German because she now does floss tubes in Danish, which I don't speak, but she did a whip parade in English. Anyway, so she showed both of these, and I just really liked them. I really like the colors of them. I don't know when I'm going to start them, but I went and bought them. Like I said, the designer's name is Olaf in Stitches, and I'll put pictures up here because they're both digital patterns. Their names are in what I believe is Italian. The website is Italian, but they translate to Santa Home or Santa's Home, maybe, is the first one. And then the second one translates to The Gifts Arrive or The Presents Arrive. I'm not even going to try to say the Italian names, but I will definitely link to the website. If possible, I will link to the patterns in the description box below. I'm not sure. I will note, if you're like me and use things like Markup or Pattern Keeper, when you download the patterns, you have to create a password that goes on the pattern so that they were password protected. I have not yet attempted to somehow override that to pull it into Markup. So I don't know if that's possible. It may be that you have to just do, a PDF reader and Markov highlighter or something. I don't know if that you can make them work in Markup or Pattern Keeper yet. So anyway, so that was the digital purchases. And then let me get this other stuff out. I got my Oak Crown Studios July Fabric of the Month. I get 32 count Lugana. Mine is a very pretty pink. I love it. I did have to message Amy because the colorway is called Fireside, and by her description, it should be red. But apparently, I know that Lugana takes dye. I mean, obviously, Lugana and linen take dye differently, and Ada too. And I know that Lugana tends to be lighter than linen as far as the colors. But apparently, with this particular dye colorway, the Lugana just did not get the saturation to be a red. It's definitely pink. I am not complaining. I love pink. I'm not a red person. Had it been red, I would have thought it was beautiful, but I would have had a much harder time finding a use for it than I will a pink. So, but it is called Fireside, even though it's pink. Mine is pink. And then I ordered a bag from I left the card in here because I knew I might not remember the name. Vintage Owl Lady. I heard about her on somebody's Flosstube and went and looked, and she had only a couple bags in her store at the time, but I really liked this one with the peacocks. She did something that I thought was very interesting, is she left the selvage edge, and it's stitched down, so there's no hole here, but I thought that was kind of neat that she left the selvage edge for the fabric, and the inside fabric is a kind of a scene. So nice, good size. It's a little smaller than the bags I make, but still a decent size. And it has a peacock on the drawstring on the zipper. And then I placed I was ordering from 123 Stitch for, I got some DMC floss I need from 123 Stitch, which I'm not going to show you. And of course, I can't just order floss from 123 Stitch. So I got buttons and beads, Mill Hill Buttons and Beads, Haunted Laboratory, however you say it. I'm trying to get all of these haunted buildings. There's a couple that are older that I don't have yet, but hopefully. And I just realized that when I was looking at this, that there's like that's Frankenstein knocking at the door of the laboratory. I hadn't noticed that before. And I am not a super primitive stitcher, and Stacy Nash, no, I can't talk. Stacy Nash, while I think her stuff is beautiful, is not typically my style because it's all very primitive. But I did see somebody working on this, and I think it's something about the colors and stuff, but it's Halloween at Hollyberry. I've heard people call it Halloween at Hollyberry Farm, but it actually, well, it does say, on the back it says Halloween at Hollyberry Farm Sampler. On the front it just says Halloween at Hollyberry Sampler. But there's something about those like navies and whites in that big white house that I just really like. So no idea when I'll start it, but I wanted to go ahead and get it. And then Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough decided to go on vacation, and since she was closing the shop for a week, she decided to have a sale, so of course I had to order some stuff. I got, because her shipping is free if it's $50 order or more, I did order some skeins of Gentle Arch threads because I'm slowly trying to accumulate most of the colors of that. Not going to show you those, but I did get Primrose Cottage Summer Quaker. I think I've gotten most of these Quakers now, and this is the newest one. I'm not sure that I'm going to do that in yellow. Or I'm not going to do it in the called for yellow. I may do it in a yellow that has, I'm thinking more like a yellow and blue. If I could find like a variegated thread that is yellow and not navy, but like a yellow and light blue or something. I don't know. I want something a little more variegated is the thing. I'm not opposed to it being yellow. And then the other thing that I got, and I should have taken this out of the plastic because I want to show you some of the inside of it, is Teresa Kogut, Hello America. I love the one that's there on the front. This has, I think, seven patterns in it. All of them are nice, but there's 3 or 4 that I like more. I really like this one. In God We Trust. I'm not going to show you all of them. I'm just going to show you the ones that I particularly like. Allegiance. I like Eagles. My online name for everything before I started a Flosstube channel was Legal Eagle. Now I use Criminally Created for everything. There was one more besides the one on the front that I showed you that I think it was this one. I really like this one too. But the Allegiance and, hopefully I'm not, and this 1776 sampler, which is the one on the front, are the 2 that I really like. the most and that I'm most likely to do. Probably I would do this one. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because I'm not sure on the Allegiance one. I'm not sure if I actually want to do all of this or if I really just want to do the eagle with the and leave that whole top part off. I don't know, because I could see like that eagle on that thing and just being kind of a longer, not skinny pillow, but a longer pillow or something. So we'll see what I actually do with that. But you know, I had to add it to the stash. So that is it for Stashing for Retirement calendar. Most of this you've heard before. North Meets South Needlework Showcase in the Washington, D.C. area, August 8th through 11th. That is being hosted by Barefoot Needle Art from Surfside, Myrtle Beach area, and Pam and Kevin from Stitch New England. I will be there, getting there sometime Wednesday, leaving Sunday. We just decided today to go to the Lake Lure area for Labor Day weekend. My husband's 60th birthday is that Friday, August 30th, and it just kind of dawned on me today that that was Labor Day weekend. We are taking the big trip to Montana and Wyoming later in September for his 60th birthday gift, event, trip, whatever. But I was texting with my friend Marianne today, who is half of the couple we travel with a lot, because today is her birthday. And I got to thinking, and I was like, y'all don't happen to have plans for Labor Day already, do you? Are you free? And so we decided, I've never been really to Lake Lure. I know I've been to Chimney Rock when I was like in high school, which is near there. So maybe I've driven past Lake Lure, but if it's so, I was like in high school. So it's kind of mountainish. So hopefully most people are going to want to go to the beach, and it will be a little cooler there because it has been 96, 97 degrees at least every day. Feels like over 100. So we're going to go Labor Day weekend there. Obviously we have the Montana, Wyoming trip in September. And then Barefoot Needle Arts retreat in October, the weekend of my birthday, actually, October 4th through 6th. Excuse me. I've got a weekend with friends early November. Actually, Michelle and I are going to go see my friend Peggy first weekend in August and see her new house, and probably visit the Kitten Stitcher. Is that what it's called? Haven't been there yet. So, speaking of which, my friend Peggy's birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Peggy, because I know you'll see this. Actually, this may come out tomorrow on your birthday. I don't know if you'll have a chance to watch it tomorrow. But hopefully you will have a good birthday. And I think that's about it. Oh, that's shout outs. I did want to do a few Flosstube shout outs. I've mentioned a couple people already. I mentioned Speedy X Stitcher and Laura Stitching by the Shore. Handwork Maniac. I've mentioned Handwork Maniac and Laura Stitching by the Shore before. Speedy X Stitcher is new to me. Apparently, and again, like I said, I don't think she's doing regular floss tubes in English, but she did do a whip parade, and go watch that. Unless you're a Danish speaker. If you speak Danish, apparently she does more floss tubes. And you know, I've never tried. You may be able to turn on like closed captioning or something, but I listen to floss tube while I stitch and just kind of look up occasionally when I want to see something. So it's easier for me if it's English and I can understand it. Jessie Marie does stuff. I watched her epic 4-hour-long whip parade, which was great. She does not do a whip parade every year because of how long it takes her. So I think I finished up the stitching on my, did I finish? I posted on Instagram whatever I did during a whip parade. I can't remember if I was working on Hawker and Hollow. Actually, no, I think I was working on Kingdom of Books, maybe. I don't remember, but I hit one of my monthly goals watching her whip parade, which I did on like a Saturday or a Sunday when I could do it all day long and just off and on stop and pause it as, I got up and got something to drink and went to the bathroom and all that fun stuff. So, Daydream Stitcher, who is new to me. I think I have seen her channel before, and in my head was confusing her with the Daybreak Stitcher, who I do watch, and not really realizing when I saw the name that was not the name I was reading in my head. So I watched her Whip Parade, and so I have not watched more than her Whip Parade yet, but I enjoyed her Whip Parade. Excuse me. Nancy the Disorderly Stitcher, who I watch regularly. I enjoy watching her, and she has kind of a dry sense of humor that I enjoy. The Hathaway Stitchers, I watched their most recent one. I was a little behind. I think it came out a week or two ago, but it was like 2.5 hours long, so I didn't get to that one until this past weekend. And then Candace K is back. She has not, I watch her regularly, but she had not done a floss tube since like January. So she just did a video of everything she'd finished since her last floss tube, and then all of her kind of a whip parade of her current whips. So I enjoy watching what she's doing too. So I've had a lot more stitching time, so a lot more floss tube time. There are more that I've watched, but I'm trying to spread them out a little bit so that I can shout out a couple every time, and remember to tell you, why I like them or what I enjoy about seeing them. So anyway, I think that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Either you can comment below, you can send me an email, you can message me on Instagram. I do link a spreadsheet to all of my cross-stitch projects below. If I forgot to say a fabric or tell you whether I was using the called for floss or something, that is in that spreadsheet, but you're welcome to just ask me if you don't want to look at it, or if the spreadsheet does not answer the question, I'm happy to try to answer it. If you are interested in any of my knitting projects, you can find me on Ravelry's Legal Eagle, and I do create project pages for all of my knitting and crochet projects, so you can find out more about what needle size I used, what yarn I used, if it's got a size to it, what size I'm making, that sort of stuff. I think that's about it. I will let you go. Hopefully I will be back around the end of the month sometime, 1st of August. And I hope that if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, you are staying cool. It seems like there's a lot of heat out there. Hopefully if you're in a wildfire area, you're staying safe. Hurricane area, same thing. I just hope you're all doing okay. So take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.